This program is part of the Cosmic Potato Podcast Network. For more shows like this, visit our website at cosmicpotato.com.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
I am Iron Man. That's a big twink.
Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds.
You are a toy!
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Why so serious?
The city's flying. We're fighting an army of robots. And I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
And welcome to World War G episode 212. I'm Troy.
I'm AJ.
No Colton today. He's on Baby Watch.
2019. Dun dun dun.
Baby Watch.
Makes it sound pretty epic.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So we're giving him a pass.
A baby pass.
Baby pass for this week.
Yesterday, so on our World War G Facebook 2 page, we brought up the question, we kind of posed the question, one of these has to go, and it was Marvel, DC, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Star Wars. And we'd both come to the conclusion that we would get rid of Lord of the Rings.
Correct.
Colton had kind of an unpopular opinion and said DC. But I was wondering, because Brandon had posed an interesting question. He'd said, do they go away from now on, or are they erased from history? And I was going under the assumption that it was like erased from history, or it was just like completely gone.
Yeah.
Right? But does your answer change at all if it's like we have so you have like Harry Potter world, you have all of the like end game because it's already been filmed, you have all of that stuff. Does your answer change at all if it was like from now on from Lord of the Rings? Like you still have the books, and you still have like Star Wars, you still have all the stuff that they've already created, but moving forward, any additional content is completely like will never happen.
Yeah, my answer would stay the same.
Oh, really?
It would be Lord of the Rings, yeah. Because Lord of the Rings, I think at this point is kind of gone as far as it can go. As far as like movies go. I know they're
television.
They're developing the television series and they're going to show more things there, but I've never been, I like Lord of the Rings, but I've never been a huge fan like I am with, Marvel or Harry Potter, these type of things. I appreciate it for what it is, but if we're going under the assumption that something has to go away, like just vanishes completely, like it was erased from existence, then no, I wouldn't choose Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Because a bunch of that stuff has appeared because of Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
Because Lord of the Rings was so old that you could argue that there is no Harry Potter, there is no fantasy genre at all without Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. So if I had to choose one, that would
completely erased,
disappear completely.
Yeah,
I wouldn't choose Marvel or DC because I think those are too important.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, what were the other choices? There's
Harry Potter,
or Star Wars,
or Lord of the Rings.
Ooh, I'd have to go with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and for me, it's kind of a little bit different. Like. I would choose, unfortunately, I would have to choose, like, Lord of the Rings if it was erased entirely from existence, because, like, Harry Potter was part of my childhood, like, my whole, Lord of the Rings was as well, and I get where you're coming from as far as, like, fantasy goes, but if it was from now on,
yeah,
I would have to choose Harry Potter. And the reason being is because I'm not a fan of, like, the Fantastic Beast movies. The first one was, like, decent, and it was, like, really good.
Second one kind of...
It was all over the place. Like, it was, like, visually it was cool and impressive, but, like, the story was convoluted, and you didn't know what was going on half the time. And, like, I'm an avid, like, Harry Potter, like, reader, and I'm familiar with, like, the whole series.
Yeah.
But I was still like, wait, now is this... who's that?
Right.
Who is this supposed to be? So I think that I would choose, like, because we've already got, like, the Harry Potter world, and they've already done plays, and they've already done The Cursed Child, and it's kind of run its course. I would be more interested to see what Lord of the Rings could come up with, and to hear more tales from, like, Lord of the Rings. Even this series that's coming out seems more interesting to me than more Fantastic Beast movies.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. But I wouldn't want to get rid of Harry Potter, because if we do that, then what happens to our beloved Emma Watson? Does she ever become Emma Watson? Does she ever become a famous actress without Harry Potter?
Ooh, that's very true. No, I'm saying so that you still have the original source material.
Oh, I see. So you're going off from now on.
From now on.
Okay,
correct.
Okay. Then, yeah, I would agree with you.
Harry Potter's kind of like run its course. It's
I would
just
agree
like,
with you.
All right, it's told the story, like people have come up like through the ranks through it, and yeah, I'm more interested in like Lord of the Rings, what they could like, because there's a lot of different like directions you could go with Lord of the Rings. Same with like Star Wars and Marvel and DC. There's like lots of stories to be told, but with Harry Potter, it's kind of like I would be good like. Honestly, I'd be good with just the original, like, 7. Like, and 8 movies.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Because Harry Potter is going to be kind of our generation and younger, like, Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Like, it's something that we'll look on in the next 20 years, like, oh, that was so awesome. That was a great film series, blah, blah, blah. And it's something that we'll rewatch over and over and over again.
Yeah, and share with your kids, and kind of a deal.
Cosplay and go to conventions about Harry Potter and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, from that point of view, if you're just going to stop now, then Harry Potter just kind of lifts right out, doesn't it?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, there you have it.
It's interesting. I wonder why is it with Harry Potter that there's no more, it feels like there's no more stories to tell, because there's more in that world. There's more characters, you know, there's more
Neville's like perspective.
Yeah,
like,
I mean
Slytherin, like all of these different like the houses where they originated from, more of a background, with the original Big Four.
Yeah, like that's what I'd like to see. I would love to see a movie of those original 4
when they were going through like school.
No, because I think they were alive. I'm just assuming from what I've gathered, like back in around medieval times, it kind of seems like.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So I think it'd be cool to kind of get like Godric Gryffindor and Salazar Slytherin and these guys and set them in...
Nobody cares about Hufflepuff.
Well, and set them in this wizarding world, but in medieval times, and see them setting up this school, because you could mix Harry Potter and like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And kind of make that world. And I think that would be pretty cool.
That could be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Like, and not even make mention of the original, go completely like to a prequel.
Yeah, do a completely new thing. I think that would be really cool. And maybe you could kind of explain like the origin of the magic, like where it comes from, and that's because that's something they've never really dove into before. Mm-hmm.
So the source of it.
Yeah. Because that was one thing that was brought up when I was working at the movie theater. We were talking about Harry Potter. And one of the guys that was working there said, what I don't get is, where does the magic come from? Mm-hmm. It's like, I know they're born with it, but what was the origin? Where did it start?
It's inside of all of us. And until you get, your letter, you don't know you have it.
So I think that's kind of an untapped potential, an untapped story that I think
as long as I believe that they kind of went more like you were saying, like a Game of Thrones direction, where they didn't rely heavily on magic, that it was more like fighting and like swords and battling, and then like only an elect few have magic or have the ability, and you find out where the origin is.
See, yeah, that would be cool. Like you focus on the main 4. Mm-hmm. But they don't do magic. Like, you don't focus on the magic. They do it occasionally, and then there are other young witches and wizards out there that are trying to like hide their powers. They don't want to be
go an X-Men direction.
Yeah, they don't want to be ostracized. And so then it starts, you can start gathering up all these students.
Because they could even be like almost like a Salem witch trial kind of a deal where they're shunned and they're like killed for like using magic, where we think it's like this awesome thing. They're looking at it as if it's a curse.
Yeah. And then you could have like the three, Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, and Ravenclaw, starting up the school and everything, and then Slytherin, he's starting, also starting up the school, but at the same time, he's kind of creating this army of like these evil wizards that they're gonna take over and they're gonna destroy the Muggles.
Yeah.
And so then
and from his perspective, or the reason that he's like saying that you need a yin and a yang, you need like a good and a you need this contrast in the school. You need variety. We need to like utilize magic, and he wants to use it for good, quote unquote. Like the dark arts, but he still wants to like delve into it.
Yeah, I see him like he's like a Magneto type. Like he believes that wizards are the next stage of mankind,
of evolution.
These normal humans, their time is done. And so you get this. It all leads up to this big climactic battle of Slytherin and his group going up against the humans and Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff, who have teamed up with the humans because they have this common enemy in Slytherin.
No, better yet. Okay, here's the in. It's not Slytherin. Like, it's not him. He's the right-hand man of this evil dude that wants to do that. And like, so he actually in the end ends up killing him and stabbing him, and they're like, "Oh, you're a good person. We're gonna name a house after you." And so it comes from that perspective to where he still has those tendencies, and he's been brought up to think that they're like the chosen ones. But at the same time, because he looks good on the surface, that he killed like this evil, the evil guy that he was just following. And
so it could kind of be like a Palpatine, Darth Vader type of thing going on.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I like how we're pulling from like Star Wars and
other
genres and
little
stuff.
Star Wars, X-Men, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter. Throw that all in, mix it around. I think it'd be a pretty cool series.
It's got potential.
Throwing some dragons, some cave trolls.
Done.
I think you got yourself
some giants.
I think you got yourself a pretty awesome fantasy adventure going on.
Okay, so in other news, Marvel, Shang-Chi, set to direct the destined Daniel Cretton. He's going to be directing the first Asian superhero film. And I was like going back and looking at like all of his credentials and kind of like different movies and stuff that he'd worked on. Like, I wasn't seeing any that I really like.
Nothing familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah, so is the Shang-Chi, so is that going to be a movie or is it going to be a TV show?
Oh no, sorry, it's going to be a movie.
Oh, it's going to be a movie. Oh, okay. Okay. So it's going to be part of the MCU. All right, I'm on board. I think Shang-Chi, if they do it right, can kind of fix the problems of Iron Fist. They can kind of create this cool kung fu martial arts film within the Marvel universe. I think it could be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be a little bit reminiscent of a Doctor Strange Iron Fist, but better than Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Are you pretty familiar with his origin story at all, or?
Not really. I've never been extremely interested in Shang-Chi. I know he was created, I think in the 70s, I want to say, when the whole martial arts craze was going on. And
you got like Bruce Lee and
he was modeled after Bruce Lee. That's obvious, but
Bruce Lee, Shang-Chi.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I'm not entirely sure of his origin, but you know, the characters popped up every now and again. He's always been kind of a cool character, so I think if they get the right person, get the right script together, I think it could be a pretty cool film.
I've always been really interested as far as like Japanese culture. They have kind of a little bit like with all history, and like we've all been guilty of this, is we kind of like make it look a little bit prettier than what it is. But if you were to really dive into it, I think like it could be really interesting. They have like a lot of like culture. They've been around for like, you know, hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah, and that's what they could do. They could really dive in to that culture. You know, show his training. Show, you know, just base the whole thing around that type of martial arts, Asian culture. I think that'd be pretty cool. It'd definitely be different in the MCU.
Do you think that they would also, like, this would also mean that they would tap into these other known superheroes as well, like more of like for the Hispanic culture and for these other, like with the Marvel, with this like second, you know, what do we even call it, like the second step, or after Endgame, so AE.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think that they had like the potential, because they've already got the fan base. They've got the potential to like branch out and to try, but at the same time, if you stray too far away from these other ones, the source material, basically, I don't know.
Well, I think Marvel is kind of going in that direction with movies like Black Panther and Captain Marvel and these type of things. And so I think this is kind of the logical next step. But I think...
How do you bring them all together to create like an Avengers type of event again? Or has that gone away?
I don't know if they do, honestly. I think you might have maybe one or two that team up in a movie now and again, but as far as like the big Avengers, get the whole team together type of thing, I don't know if you do that again.
Okay.
Honestly. Especially if there's no Iron Man or Captain America around.
Yeah.
Which very possible could happen here in a month.
Very, very true.
So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see where they go, what storylines they use. As long as they still have Kevin Feige there to oversee the whole thing, I think we'll be fine.
Watch next week he steps down.
Yeah, right.
No.
Something comes out about him on
Bowser and Nintendo.
Yeah. Speaking of which, James Gunn is returning to the MCU and will be directing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Does that mean that he's not doing Suicide 2, like the Suicide Squad 2?
I believe he's doing that as well.
Okay.
He's doing both.
So as soon as like DC picked him up, they're like, you know, basically the MCU is like having buyer's remorse kind of a thing, or is just like, oh no, wait.
That is kind of what it seems like, isn't it?
Right?
It's like Marvel and Disney are like, look, you got a scene in the background, it's time to go. And so they were thinking that maybe Hollywood would, I don't know, maybe shun him or not hire him or that sort of thing. And all of a sudden they learned that DC has picked him up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we made a mistake. Okay.
Come back.
Yeah, I think it might be that, and it might be fan backlash. Because I know a lot of fans were unhappy. A lot of the stars were unhappy. Maybe they were worried that
they'd
walk away.
Drax, yeah, I know he was pretty vocal about the whole thing.
Yep. So maybe they're worried that they'll walk away or not want to come back, and you know,
there's a lot of politics involved with this.
There is. Yeah.
I don't remember there being a petition, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, I heard a lot of I heard a lot of people like, you know, all over the internet talking about how they wanted him back, and this was kind of. Does this kind of like, you know, because they were taking the moral high ground because of what he had said like years and years ago. Does this kind of like make them look dumb?
A little bit. a little bit. It makes them look like that they made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they realize that mistake, and so they're kind of backtracking on everything. I don't think that either Marvel or Disney has come out and made a statement about it.
No.
I don't think. I haven't read it.
They're like playing it like way low key kind of a deal.
And I'm glad he's back because I'd still go watch Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but it'd feel different.
It would. Yeah.
know?
Whenever they bring, like, you've got a franchise that you're building or something, and then they all of a sudden bring in a different director who's got a different vision and who doesn't know these characters as well or what,
Right. It's like what they did with Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
From episode 7 to episode 8. It just felt like a completely different movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be the same thing. I'm sure James Gunn in number 2 was leading up to something, it had a storyline in mind. It was leading up, it was leading somewhere. And so then if you got another director, they may have a completely different vision and
yeah.
Yeah.
Or he didn't have, because like a lot of the times, like I know the creators of Stranger Things didn't really have a season 2 because they didn't know it was going to be picked back up. But then they're like, oh, hey, yeah, we could go this direction, So perhaps maybe, I don't know. I'm always tentative to believe that they have like a direction or they have an idea. They perhaps might have had like an idea. They're like, oh, hey, I'd like to explore this. And it was just as much of a thought, but it wasn't really, but when they actually get down and sit down with the board, they're like, oh, yeah, my vision is this.
Right.
To make it look a little bit better. But speaking of these big entities, Netflix they're deciding to double down on anime. And I actually think this might help them because, like, Disney is growing and becoming like a streaming giant themselves.
Superpower.
Yeah, because they own how much of Hulu now?
50-something%.
Yeah. So they're pulling all of their stuff and putting it over on Hulu. Is that or are they going to still create their own?
Disney Plus. That's where all their content is going.
Yeah,
but bottom line, they're pulling it all off of Netflix.
Mm-hmm. So Netflix is kind of doubling down, and as long as I think they don't go to these really obscure animes and kind of do like bring in some Studio Ghibli movies and put them in there, I think they'll be just fine because they're already releasing enough of their own Netflix original series.
Yeah, and I can see where Netflix is coming from because if Disney pulls out, that's all the Disney movies, all Marvel, Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. All their
Fox
kids' content.
Now, that's all gone. And so that is a huge chunk of Netflix just gone.
Yeah.
And so obviously they got to think, okay, now what can we get to replace that?
Mm-hmm.
I can understand them pulling in anime because there's so much of it.
It's just not going to be a deciding factor for you to start subscribing to it.
Yeah, I've never been a huge anime fan, and so I think the audience is kind of it's a very niche audience, especially over here in America.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I think it's growing a little bit more.
It is,
and we've always had it. Like there's certain ones like Dragon Ball Z and some of these other ones that have like Pokemon that have like made
Speed Racer.
That have like made their way into our our culture.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if it's going to
be sustainable.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be able to replace, what Disney's going to take out.
Is there anything that they could add to it?
Well, what they have to do at this point is just get from all the other major studios.
It's a grabbing, like they're out there trying to grab whatever they can, kind of a thing.
If they can get content from
Cartoon
Warner
Networks.
Brothers or Cartoon Network or any of these other like big studios, I think they'll be okay. Nickelodeon, that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then really start to double down on all of that. As far as Warner Brothers goes, they have obviously DC.
Mm-hmm.
Get all that animated stuff in there. Get all the of course, DC has their own streaming thing now.
Right? Yeah.
So
they can't pull from there.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So Netflix has got to look to other places.
And this seems like this is
survive.
the direction that we're going. We're getting away from like the generations that had like direct TV and watched like live television.
Yeah.
This is the way that it like of the future.
It is. It's going to be all streaming. I think within 20 years, TV, as it's known now, is going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah, because like even I could see down the road Disney or like Hulu or even Netflix having the Super Bowl or having like these different awards. Or, the Oscars, the Emmys, just on there that you can watch live.
I can see that too.
But how many different ones do you really? I guess you'd have to be like subscribed to like 5 or 6 of them.
See, and there's the problem.
Which would be the same price as
There's the problem. There's so many different streaming services now that are being created that it's going to split the people, what people are going to buy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what's going to happen eventually is they're going to have all these splintered streaming services you can buy. And I think eventually some company is going to come along and realize that why are we splitting all this money between everybody? Let's pull it all together.
Mm-hmm. Bundle it, kind of a deal.
And bundle it like Netflix did, but unfortunately Netflix was the first, and now they're going to try something else. But I think eventually they're going to go back to everything streaming in one place.
Get like HBO.
Yeah.
And some of these other ones that have done their own streaming things as well.
I mean, it'll get to the point where people will look at other people that have, like, cable the same way people look at people that have, like, landlines in their home.
Yeah.
Hang on 1 second. I forgot to plug in the computer. If I don't... everything we've recorded so far is not going to be there. Okay.
Yeah, it will eventually look like that to them.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be weird if people go into somebody's house and they say they have cable still. I mean, like, cable? I haven't seen anybody with cable in years. They will regale our grandchildren with tales of the cable bill, and you actually had a guy that came to your house and he drilled little holes in your wall and he ran this cable through your TV and to this little box.
Or even like a satellite on the side of your house.
Yeah.
To be able to get it.
Okay. So, speaking of Disney Plus.
Yes.
Marvel's What If series is becoming a Disney Plus TV show. Now, those of you that aren't familiar with Marvel's What If series, basically it's a series of comic books that they do so often where they take their characters and they put them into different stories and different origins.
Yeah.
So, like, what if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four? Or what if, Dr. Doom was a good guy? Or what if, it just all these kind of, what if Punisher was Captain America? This is kind of weird, kind of one-off, interesting stories.
Well, some of them can be pretty interesting. Some are pretty obscure and, like, random and, like, they don't really go anywhere.
True, and they were never meant to go anywhere. It was just, they're all just kind of one-shot things like, what if Peter Parker never ceased his calling as a crime fighter and remained a civilian throughout his life? What if Loki wielded the power of Mjolnir instead of Thor? What if Captain America hadn't been frozen during World War II? Stuff like that. So,
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see the stories that they do. And
I think that, like, in that scenario, just like thinking that Captain America would be kind of regarded as like almost like a founding father.
Yeah.
Right? Like people would tell like or look back on him and his legacy and what he did for the war, and he'd be up there with like a president basically.
Yeah, he'd be up there with like General Patton and George Washington and these great military people.
Yeah. It's got potential, and it's difficult sometimes, I think, when they actually do have a really good idea, that they only have one episode to kind of like wrap it all up in a nice little bow.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wonder if that's what they're going to do. If they're going to... Are they going to make little mini-series out of them, or are they just going to do, like, feature films, like an hour-and-a-half film of these stories, or...
Well, they're actually...
You know.
Huh. Yeah. They could almost, like, bundle them all together and just have, like, a Marvel What If, and then, like, each one's, like, a little, like, episode, or, like you were saying, like, a movie.
Now, I wonder if they're also going to do more of the darker stuff, like Marvel Zombies, or, you know, Punisher kills the entire Marvel Universe, or Deadpool kills the entire Marvel Universe.
I think
which
they could.
Both happened.
Yeah. I think they could go that direction. I don't think it would be out of the realm of what, like, content they've, like, released up to this point.
It'd be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah. When they actually make that, like, that... There's like a turning point to where, same with like, I know that DC did this like back in the day with their DC animated movies, the animated movies that they did, that they finally like, oh, this one's PG-13, this one's R, and then it was just like free game for whatever kind of like they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And whatever kind of story they wanted to tell. Speaking of comic books though, Pokemon Detective Pikachu is getting a graphic novel. I'm not like excited for this movie at all.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised because I don't know, you've been more the anime fan than me, and I'm actually looking forward to it. I want to see it. That's interesting.
I think it'll be funny, and it did have a couple like, I think like the best parts of the film were what they showed in the trailer. Like, I'm tentative. I want to see like a universe where Pokemon exist, and I think that they've actually like captured that pretty well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think under the whole guise of Pikachu being able to communicate, I don't know.
Yeah, my only thing is I don't know if Ryan Reynolds was the right choice to be Pikachu.
Yeah. Who would you have gone with?
I don't know. It's just weird to hear that voice, that type of voice come out of Pikachu. So that's because when he said, whenever he talks, it's really high pitched. You know, he almost sounds like Mickey Mouse.
Pika, Pika.
Yeah. And it's such a strange contrast between the two. I always pictured Pikachu having this high-pitched voice, and then to hear Ryan Reynolds come out of him is strange. It's like, who's very popular right now? Ryan Reynolds. Okay, well, let's make him Pikachu.
Yeah.
But to everybody else, except for this kid, they hear that normal Pikachu voice, but he's hearing Ryan Reynolds. I don't know. It's weird. It feels weird to me.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I'll probably go see it, but I think this is a little bit soon for them to already be releasing like a comic book or a graphic novel. I know they're trying to like double down, and they're trying to catch everybody while they're all hyped for this movie.
They're trying to catch them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But at the same time, like some of these other ones, I've really liked what they did with like even like Firefly. They came out with additional content after you saw the movie, and you're like, oh, or the TV show. You're like, oh, it was really good. I wish they would explore more of this. And then they actually release these graphic novels, and then it's just like, oh, that's more interesting. You know, rather than like releasing this at the same time that the movie's coming out. I don't know. It seems pretty ambitious. And they're already like thinking it's going to be like a huge success.
Well, and I'm sure that they were creating this novel the same time they're creating the movie.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Yeah. kind of just go hand in hand. They're like, oh, well, we can't add in all this additional stuff into the movie. Let's just put it into a graphic novel.
Right.
So I know it's probably just like additional content, but at the same time, it seems a little preemptive.
Yeah. Yeah. I have interest in seeing the movie, but I have no interest in getting the
graphic novel. Yeah.
Honestly.
Speaking of no interest.
Yeah. So there was a story that broke about 2 weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago, that there was this college. Was it Southern California? Yeah. The University of Southern California. And there was a few other like Stanford and Yale. And apparently there were some that people were getting accepted to these colleges under falsifying their records and falsifying things on their applications.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And there was a few celebrities that got caught up with this. Like, let's see, Felicity Huffman, and a few others. And there was one, Loughlin, who was also charged with this. Now, if you don't know, Lori is on Fuller House. She's also on Full House. She was Aunt Becky. Mm-hmm. And she's also been a big star in the Hallmark channel movies and stuff like that. Well,
yeah, that's her bread and butter.
Yeah. Well, she's not going to be returning to any of that stuff. Fuller House has pulled a Roseanne and completely cut her out from the rest of the series. I don't know if they're just going to kill off her character or I don't know. But Aunt Becky is gone from Full House.
Oh, man. How can they go on?
I don't know. I mean, she was...
Now it's like an averagely... It's not a full house anymore. It's just like a house.
Now it's just a house.
No.
Now it's just a house with a few people in it.
So she falsified that she, like, went to these colleges?
No, it was her children. She falsified records for her kids to get into these colleges.
Oh, okay. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like it says here, Loughlin and husband, fashion designer Massimo, Italian last name, were among 50 people indicted with regard to said scam, which involved them paying bribes to get their kids accepted at high-profile schools, such as University of Southern California, Stanford, and Yale. Apparently, the couple paid $500,000 to have their two daughters get accepted to USC.
See,
yeah,
I could see them, like, I don't know, that seems like a little excessive as far as money goes, but if, like, say you're really extremely wealthy, and somebody says to you, you know, you've got a couple of kids, and they're of college age, and they say, like, hey, you know, if you were to donate to this school, then you'd be more, you know, they'd be more apt to get accepted to it, you know, and you being a parent, wanting to, like, you've got all this, like, excess money, and you want, like, the best for your children, and every parent wants a better life for their kid. I mean, this seems like a lot more money than, like, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, every parent kind of wants that, a better life for their kids. So they're like, hey, if I can give them a leg up, but at the same time...
But don't do it illegally.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I'm just meaning, like, it would be kind of a slippery slope because you'd want to be like use your influential abilities and all of your assets to help them, but at the same time, yeah, this kind of seems like a little too shady.
Yeah, and I think it kind of speaks to that whole celebrity mentality. Like, I'm sure when they were
this entitlement, sense of entitlement.
I'm sure they thought about, you know, oh, this isn't going to be a problem, or, oh, we'll be fine, you know, we have the money to do it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they never thought another thing about it.
Then it comes out, like, down the road.
Then it comes out, and it's like, oh. So, I doubt they will be, but if they are charged with these things, they're looking at possible jail time.
What?
Yes.
Really?
For these things.
Not Aunt Becky.
Yeah.
She's going to jail?
Yeah, it could be Aunt Jailbird. Like she could be facing up to, I think I heard 5 years in prison for doing this.
Then they could call the show like Big House.
Bigger House.
Bigger House. Yes. It'd be like, and then like go more of a Orange is the New Black.
I would
direction.
I would love for Fuller House to be like, to write her character as she's been arrested and taken to prison.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious.
That would be awesome. That would be great.
But I'm sure chances are they'll just be like, oh, she got into like car accident or something. They'll probably kill her off.
Yeah.
It'll be a very special episode of Fuller House.
Well, they already made fun of like the twins for not coming back, you know, so they're not above that.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
So
Aunt Becky could get into some legal troubles and be taken off to the big house. From Full House to the big house.
Because of like, and well, what would you even like say as far as the what was the television show that she worked for? I mean, the news station. With Danny Tanner.
Oh, within the show.
Yeah.
Wake up, San Francisco.
Yeah. Have some sort of like Wake Up San Francisco has some sort of scandal. That's why she goes to jail.
Yeah. I think season
to stay awake, you know, or drug troubles.
There you go.
To wake up in time for work to be also why she was so perky is because of drugs.
So the Hollywood Reporter is reporting that Netflix is not bringing back Loughlin to Fuller House season 5, which will debut this fall.
Is there really a season 5 already?
Yeah.
Like I was like thinking it was gonna be killed off after season 2.
Well, filming has yet to start. But the actress's legal issues won't impact the production schedule.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah. Woo.
Oh, man.
So,
it's a big weight off my shoulders.
Yeah. And like I said, the Hallmark channel is also ending its working relationship with her. And yeah, so she's out of all of her jobs.
Oh, man.
She's been fired from everything.
This is happening, like, this is a trend with, like, celebrities. All their dark, dirty secrets are, like, coming to light here.
Well, I think it's part of the culture right now. I think, you know, we're getting to this point in the culture where we're not going to
take it?
Put up with, we're pulling a Twisted Sister.
Take it.
We're not going to take it anymore.
We're not going to take it anymore. No, like you start like singing the song.
So yeah, I mean,
they're not above. Like when you can have YouTube channels that are just as popular as some of these other celebrities and stuff, and you can have like anybody can become. We're kind of entering like an age where even on like TikTok and some of these other different platforms or Instagram or Twitter, they can become like overnight celebrities.
Yeah.
Right? That anybody has this potential to have that. So nobody's kind of above anybody else.
Yeah.
Kind of a mentality.
And I think because of the age of social media, like I'm sure, the University of Southern California, before social media, they would have just kind of hushed this up and paid some people off, and nobody would have known anything about it.
Exactly.
But because of this social media thing, everybody knows everything, and if the University of Southern California were not to have done anything, they would have been even more hot water than they are now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They have a new wing at their on their campus that it's called like Fuller House.
Yeah.
It does seem like that direction, and it also makes you kind of like it makes them be held more accountable.
More accountable, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which would be like it'd be interesting to see from the perspective of these celebrities what they're thinking. They're like they've got all these different skeletons in their closet, that could potentially come out at any moment and ruin the rest of their career.
Yeah, I wonder if some of them are kind of sweating right now.
Right?
Being like, oh, I did. There was this
more than a whore at church.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. All right. So I have a recommendation. It's been a little bit since I've done a recommendation. But it's a mobile game. You know, I'm all about the mobile games.
Yeah.
I play those a lot. And this one is called Looney Tunes World of Mayhem.
Okay.
Now, I've always been a fan of Looney Tunes, but I don't think I've ever had a mobile game. So this is kind of it's a turn-based mobile game where you kind of build up your army, basically.
Mm-hmm. Of Looney Tune characters?
Of Looney Tune characters. And there are different campaigns you can go on. Like there's the forest chapter, the farm chapter, the town chapter, the desert chapter, the city chapter, and the space chapter.
Oh, I was going to say, do they go into space?
They do. Because
Marvin the Martian?
That was kind of the catalyst for the whole thing is Marvin invaded.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he invaded Earth.
Oh, so he's the villain.
He's the villain.
Okay.
And so you have to try and stop him. So, for example, in the forest chapter, there are only certain certain Looney Tunes that you can use in the forest chapter.
So you got like Bugs Bunny, Porky the Pig.
Yeah, there's 8 Looney Tunes you can use.
Okay.
There's a Foghorn Leghorn. Now he's dressed as kind of a looks like like pioneer David Crockett thing.
Okay.
There's Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd, Yosemite Sam, Sylvester the cat dressed as looks like a scout, Granny dressed as a scout.
Oh, that's awesome. They even like enlisted Granny.
Yeah, Marvin the Martian, he's dressed as like a hunter, and then Sylvester Jr. is also on here. Then you have like WB Studios, where it's like the characters are dressed up in different outfits. Like you have Yosemite Sam dressed up as an alien. You have Bugs. You have Foghorn Leghorn dressed up as like Frankenstein.
Does Marvin the Martian, does he have any other like allies?
He does.
Like Yosemite Sam is kind of a villain.
I'm trying to remember the basis of the game. Does he make? I'm trying to remember if he makes clones or he turns people evil or it's something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to go through and buy and buy these different characters that you can get throughout the game. Complete different goals will get you different characters, that sort of thing. And so, yeah, it's kind of fun. Because you can kind of upgrade the tunes you have. You can kind of make them stronger, more powerful. And, yeah, it's just, you just go through and clear out these different areas. And, yeah, it's kind of fun.
That's awesome.
So again, that's Looney Tunes World of Mayhem, if you want to go download it.
Is it available for Android as well?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think it's
I'll have to
available
double-check.
for both if you want to check it out. Also, there's another recommendation. I just thought of it.
Yes.
It is March 24th, and we've been doing our March Movie Madness in April.
Mm-hmm.
We've been asking people for their movie nominations.
And now these are any movies. Like, even if they've been nominated, like somebody else has nominated them, feel free to go ahead and nominate them as well.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, this is our annual bracket competition. Everybody does a bracket competition in March. We do ours in April.
Yes.
To kind of set ourselves apart.
Exactly.
And so through the entire month of March, we asked people to give us their movie nominations that they want to compete in the tournament next month.
And what's really interesting is like a lot of the times we'll have some like these Cinderella stories, like potential ones that like they've just gone up against certain movies that for whatever reason people like better than others. You know, and we've had some like really interesting ones in the past that like the two genres don't even go together, and it's really difficult because you like both movies, but you have to like, which one do you like better, or which one could you see yourself watching more? Yeah,
so we've had some upsets and stuff like that.
Frozen was like a surprising one for like.
Yeah, Frozen did pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it didn't compete at the very end, it was like in the semifinals or stuff like. It went really far.
Yeah.
And then you'll have movies like Gladiator that's in it every year.
That's like a classic. And like, you know, that you're like, man, this is such a great movie. Or even like Braveheart or some of these other ones that you're just like, oh man, this is like a cinematic masterpiece. And then it like gets like 2 votes.
Yeah.
Like, what the?
So it's interesting to see how all this kind of shakes out. So if you are interested in doing this, we have a Facebook page, March Movie Madness in April. I think you can join, or at least you can request to join. And then you can take, or you can, when the tournament starts next month, you can participate in it. But yeah, so anybody who's listening right now, you know, get your votes in, get your nominations in. You can put it on my wall or AJ's or Colton's. And just nominate any movies you want. It doesn't matter if they're new or not. It could be Gone with the Wind. It could be Captain Marvel. Yeah. And anything in between. It doesn't matter. Because the more nominations a movie gets, the better chance it has to
the higher up
compete.
On the bracket it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And
well, I mean, it's the same thing as far as like, you know, the teams that do better, like as far as basketball goes, who have the better record are going to be up higher on a higher seed.
Yeah, exactly. So you have until the 31st to get your movie nominations in. And then I compile the list. I send it off to AJ. And then he puts together the bracket himself.
Yeah.
And yeah, then I leave it up to him to do that. And then he sends the bracket to me. And then we compete.
Send it off to you guys.
Yep. Okay. So there's that. So here's where you can listen to all of our episodes. You can hear all of our episodes at worldwarg.podbean.com. We're also on iTunes and the Google Play Store. We're also on cosmicpotato.com. On the social media, you can find us at facebook.com/worldwargpodcast. We're also on Twitter and Instagram. Just search at WWG Podcast. You can find all of our merchandise, of our t-shirts and mugs and phone cases and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
At shop.spreadshirt.com/worldwarg. Hopefully we should have some new stuff coming soon. That's kind of Colton's department. But obviously, like we said at the beginning, he's been busy with other things currently. So you can also email us anytime.
Day or night.
At worldwgpodcast@gmail.com. You can also call or text the show at any time at 385-240-1692. So, this has been World War G episode 212. That has been AJ.
That has been Troy.
Stay geeky, my friends. Hey guys, Troy here. So I just wanted to give you all a little update. This is after the episode. AJ's gone. I just hopped on Facebook and saw that Emily and Colton welcomed a new baby girl. She was born today, this morning. So I just want to say congratulations to them. And I want to welcome little Lexington May into the world. And happy that our little World War G family has expanded. So, again, congratulations to them. Thank you for listening to this program and helping to support the Cosmic Potato Podcast Network. Be sure to check out all of these other great podcasts that we have to offer. On Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast, join Sean, John, Rick, and Virginia as they bring you the latest entertainment news. They've got you covered from Marvel to Star Wars, classic films, TV shows, and everything in between. What is Captain Game Show? It's a light-hearted trivia and wordplay Thunderdome. Join John Irons as he plays a game where pop culture knowledge is not enough. You also need to have a black belt in Haiku Kung Fu. For you fans of Star Trek Discovery, we have Discovery After Show. Every week, Sean, Rick, John, and Virginia break down the good and bad of the latest episode of the series. They compare what they're seeing to episodes of the older shows and speculate on things to come. Movie fans will love Wait, You've Never Seen... Virginia's taste in film is mostly with the classics and musicals. Her boyfriend Shane loves sci-fi and action. Every week, they watch and review a film that one of them hasn't seen. It might be Die Hard, or it could be Singin' in the Rain. But they're both increasing their film knowledge one movie at a time. If you can't get enough geekery, then you'll want to check out World War G. It's a podcast about all things geek. Troy, AJ, and Colton sit down and talk about the geeky news of the week. They discuss movies, TV, comic books, video games, and occasionally they have a taste test. It's a fun, entertaining podcast if you're a nerd, geek, weirdo, or anything in between. If you're a TV fan, then you'll want to tune in to Trial by Pilot. No one has time to watch every new television show. That's why Bill, Elizabeth, and Casey give their verdict on all the new shows. They judge an entire season of television based solely on the pilot episode. And we do sports, too. Wrestling counts, right? Do you remember the great legends of wrestling from back in the day? Was watching WrestleMania one of the highlights of your childhood? Join Rob and Zach as they watch and review every WrestleMania ever on Review-A-Mania. You can find all of these shows on the Cosmic Potato Podcast Network. Visit our website at cosmicpotato.com to find out more. Remember to like what you want and let others do the same.